everyone, and welcome back to the Witch of Bees and Bones. I hope you're all doing well. I figured I would sit down today because we're supposed to get a big storm tomorrow, and whenever we get large storms, I anticipate a loss of electricity, and therefore I couldn't record. And trust me, I am a fairly steady person, but when we lose power where I live, I go to a place in my head that really isn't the best. I will admit that, but that's where we're at. So hoping that doesn't happen. But if it does, it happens. I've survived it before. Today I wanted to sit down and talk about a deck that I got several weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, but because I've put my shadow work on hiatus, I've looked at the deck, kind of like gone through it. I hadn't used it until this morning. So this is not so much a review as an off the cuff, first time I used it, things I wanted to point out kind of situation. So the deck I'm talking about today is the Nocturna Oracle by Megan Wyreweden, and I hope I pronounced their name correctly. And I'm sorry if I did not. So it comes in this really lovely box, which I love, and it's got that kind of satin or like matte finish. It feels really nice. It's a really beautiful. I'm gonna, as much as I love, there we go. There, that way you can see a little better. There you go, perfect. And the box is really well done. It's got the little starlight in it, and then on the edge it has the moon phases. So really, really like the packaging. It feels good. It looks good. Sits easily on the shelf. All of that. Comes with 48 cards, which is good. I usually like a few more cards than that. I do like a minimum of a 52 card deck, but again, I'm not going to quibble over 4 cards, whatever. So the first thing I will say is it feels really nice. It has this gold foil on the edges. I will say, if you get this deck, some of the cards you're going to have to separate from the others. The gold kind of sticks them together. So I went through, thought I had them all. Then when I was clearing the deck, I knew that there was supposed to be 48. So, 4 stacks 12, and I ended up not right. So I had to go through and find the cards that were stuck together. But just that's a little whatever. So the backing on the card is really simple and lovely. I do like a directional piece on the back of cards. I don't tend to read cards on the contrary, so I keep them together and shuffle them together, so the ends aren't mixed up. So I like a directional card. The cardstock is really nice. It's kind of somewhere between a matte and a satin. It feels really nice. And it's got this like midnight blue color, which is stunning. And the cards themselves are beautiful. And of course there's a lot of animals and plants, so that's obviously my thing, which was why I was interested. Somebody had mentioned this deck to me after I had done the Obsidian Oracle, and said that deck reminded them of this deck, and I was like, oh well, I'm happy to check it out. So I'm just going to share some of the images with you. Gecko here. Scorpion. Another bat card. We love a bat card. Badger. Aurora. So the artwork on these is stunning. A possum. I love these little guys. Actually pulled an opossum card in the Woodland Wardens deck yesterday, which made me very happy. Lavender, orchid, so there's some ocean stuff, land stuff, plant goodness, flora, fauna, etc. Chambered nautilus. So this is a really great deck to read intuitively. The owl is really lovely as well. Now, mind you, I've only used this deck. I cleared it and I used it this morning for my morning draw. So I don't have a like, we haven't worked together a lot, so I'm not gonna sit here and blow it up, and I'm also not gonna sit here and talk shit about it. However, there is one. This is the only thing I found because it's the only card I pulled. I pulled the Scorpion card this morning, which is interesting. I didn't like pulling that card, I'll just say that, but I pulled it for a reason, and it's about rebirth and shedding my skin and letting go of things that no longer serve me. So I get the point of the card. The downside to this deck, in my opinion, and again, if you're using this deck intuitively, it's a beautiful deck, and I think it's going to be a super easy read intuitively. But when I get a new deck, I really do enjoy looking at the guidebook, because the artist put intention into what they created, and I think that that's important to recognize. So the guidebook is little, which is fine. Excuse me. However, the cards themselves, or the names of the cards, have really no rhyme nor reason. I think it might have been the original order of the deck, which is fine until you shuffle it. And then you're left, there's no numbers, it's not alphabetized. The explanations are good and seem solid to me thus far, but the fact that to look at this, I have to thumb through, almost 50 pages of stuff potentially to get to the card that I pulled to see what what Megan wanted said by that card, or meant by that card, I should say. So that was a little, I don't love that. Is it a deal breaker? No, because again, I typically read intuitively, but I do like to know what the creator meant. So not the end of the world. One thing I did get, this is a me thing. This isn't a witch thing. This isn't a negative thing. This isn't a nobody should ever use this. And I'm trying, here it is. So I pulled the Scorpion card this morning. I know what it means to me, wanted to see what it meant to her. And I am a science nerd, as you all know. And so the first thing it said is, with its poisonous sting. And I'm a stickler for poisonous versus venomous. So if you don't know, if you eat something and it makes you sick, that's poisonous. So if you bite something, say, like, I know it's eating or ingesting, but just as a quick little rhyme. So if you bite it and it makes you sick, that's poisonous. If it bites you and makes you sick, that's venomous. So though a scorpion doesn't bite, it stings, that's venom, not poison. And to a lot of people, nobody's going to give a rat's ass. And again, not a deal breaker, but I'm really nitpicky about this. I read a lot of science journals. I do a lot of research on venom in medications, and a lot of well-known, renowned scientists refer to snake venom as poison, and it's one of those things that I'm a real stickler about. So I didn't love that. Again, I don't want to be a bitch about it. It's not the end of the world. Obviously, I know what they mean. I know what they're talking about. It's not a big deal. But that, as the first card and the first pull, and then having to search for it, I was just like, it's not poison, it's venom. And so then I had to get over like that, not less than graceful place in my head. And I have, but I did want to point that out, that some of this stuff, because I haven't gone through the whole deck, I don't know if it's scientifically accurate, but it's an oracle deck. It's not a science journal, so I'm gonna you know um, calm my tits about that. Um, excuse me. But that was just a really I didn't love it as a first pull. I didn't love the card as a first pull, which is a me thing again. But the deck itself is really, really beautiful. It feels good. It shuffles nicely. I think I'm going to be better off reading this deck intuitively, which is what like I said, I typically do. But like Geode, these cards, they're beautiful, and obviously a lot of time and attention and thought. The moth, this is a Cecropia moth. I actually have this moth tattooed on me. It's one of my favorite creatures. I don't know what's up with the light. I think there's too much natural light coming in the room and too much darkness because I'm wearing black, but I typically wear black. But the cards are beautiful. If you're looking for I don't want to call it simple. That's not fair. If you're looking for a deck that's not verbose and is clear, and you can read intuitively, and you're a nature person, or you're a nature witch or a green witch like myself, I think you'd really like this deck. Do I love it? Not yet. I've used it one time. So I want to be really clear. I'm not shitting on this deck at all. I think it's really, really lovely. I think it's well made. I think the artwork is beautiful. I think the cardstock is beautiful. And we're just getting to know each other. But I did want to mention it. I'm going to use it some more and see. For me personally, it does not that anything replaces anything else, so that's not even fair. But if I had to choose this deck or Obsidian Oracle, I'm going to choose Obsidian Oracle every single time, like hands down. But I do want to get to know this deck better. I owe it that, and I probably owe myself that. I think there's always things to be learned, good and bad. So I am going to explore this further. But I also want to share one other card with you. I don't, sometimes I do, but I don't often share the cards I pull on the day I pull them because I like to sit with them. But I got the Scorpion card from that deck this morning. And then from Woodland Wardens, I got the Pine Marten and Foxglove, which is about mischief. Most of my... I'm so sorry. I did some readings yesterday. And I feel terrible that I coughed through them. But I feel fine, but I still cough. Anyhow, I'm all over the place today. So the meaning of this card is mischief, and to look for opportunities for fun and travel and mischief. And I think that's a great reminder for me. I tend to get really set in my ways, and because I follow a left-hand path, I oftentimes will, I don't want to say forget about fun, but I'm more focused on the grind. And I worked on that last month. I continue to work on that this month. I'm avoiding, for my own readings, for my own pulls, I'm still avoiding the super heavy shadow work stuff. I'm trying to like lighten things up for myself a little bit. And so the mischief card was a fun pull for me this morning, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that like plays out for the day or the week or the month or my life in general. But to be reminded that fun and mischief and travel and having fun is not just okay, but like healthy and good. I get a little bogged down and really set in my ways. And I had mentioned in a prior video that this time of year is challenging for me. I suffer. I don't want to use suffer. I deal with anxiety, and there was a few days over the this past week that it was pretty. It's not debilitating. If anything, the downside to my, or it's not even a downside. It's so interesting. My anxiety doesn't cripple me, it propels me in certain ways. So I have been reorganizing things again. I painted the wall behind my setup here yesterday. I painted the paneling. Some of you, if you follow my Instagram, will see that I painted a wall in my home, which doesn't sound like a big deal. I love color, so lack of color. But as you can see behind me, it's the old-fashioned Pickwick paneling, and my grandparents my family built this house, and it always felt strange or wrong for me to paint the paneling. I also have a history in like the decorating field, and it's like it's a pain in the ass and all the things you're supposed to do and all of this and that. And then I just said fuck it and decided to paint. And so I did a wall, accent wall over my living room altar. And I was looking at this space because it's perfect. It cuts off by, this is a sliding glass door. So it cuts off here, and then it cuts off on an opening to go into the rest of my house. So it's this little corner. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing the damn thing. And it's really hard to photograph because A, it's a dark corner. And so if I have light on, the light gets weird in pictures. But I painted a color called Plum Island from California Paints. It's a historic color. It's this dark, rich purple color. It's really, I sent a picture to a loved one last night, and they said, oh, that looks so decadent. And that's exactly it. And with pictures of my family up, uh, it really frames everything beautifully. So that was exciting, but it stems from anxiety and like needing to do stuff. I can't just sit or be calm. So rambles. But this might be the key for me is more fun and more mischief and more ways to channel energy into fun things. Not that I don't have fun. I have a ton of fun. I love nature. I have really lovely people in my life. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so miserable, because I'm truly not. But I'm a really intense person. If I had a dime for every person that ever told me that I was too intense, um, to which I say, go find less. That's fine. This is really tangential, but I I've been trying to figure out how to soothe my anxiety when it arises, because I do all the things I know work, and they work to some degree, but not all of the time and not fully sometimes. I think fun and mischief might be the key here. So I'm looking forward to thinking about that and exploring it. I am planning some travel, which I'm excited about. I didn't travel for a long time, and now I'm a little more able to do that, so that's fun. So, very rambly video. Check out the Nocturna Oracle. I will link it down below. Um, I, I like it. I don't love it yet. I'm gonna give it some time, but I just wanted to kind of give. I feel like we tend to talk about decks after we've used them a bunch, which is super helpful. But I wanted my like knee-jerk reaction to this, so share that. And I appreciate you all so much. The last thing I wanted to mention is that a few of you have reached out to me that you either don't have an Etsy account, or you don't like Etsy or whatever, but would still like readings. I'm happy to do that. We can set something up through Venmo and do it that way. If Etsy isn't your deal, that's fine. So feel free to reach out to me privately, of course. On my Instagram, which I will link down below when we can set something up. The Etsy shop is going well, and I have so much gratitude for the folks that have already reached out. So I will see you soon, I hope. Let's hope for no power outages. I hope everyone is safe and happy, or at least okay. Sometimes we can't always be happy, but find something beautiful today. Really take it in and enjoy it. And I will be back with you very soon. Bye.